Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Zoom presentation with Jill Yesko from Discovering Organizing. After leaving a career of social work followed by human resources management, Jill Yesko created a residential organizing company in 2003. Later, adding a photo organizing, senior move management, a greeting card line, and on-demand bin storage. And shortly, she'll be including author to her accomplishments. You may have seen her last year on episode 2 of Hoarders, where she was a guest professional organizer. She weaves her experience as a certified professional organizer, senior move manager, and entrepreneur into her presentations and podcasts. Jill reveals her proven strategies that will empower any audience to be courageous, tenacious, and self-disciplined enough to truly simplify and improve their productivity, their time, and their home or office environment. And as the local chapter president of the National Organization of Productivity and Professional Organizers, Jill is honored to be at Peters Township Public Library today as part of Go Month to help you achieve your New Year's goals of Get Organized. Welcome, Jill Yesko.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me, and thanks for the Peters Township Library community. As always, I enjoy being here, just talking with your patrons and hoping that I can set the tone for an amazing 2021 for your year ahead. During the times that we might have been at home more than we'd like, we spend a lot of time, including myself, decluttering and really becoming familiar with my surroundings in my home and learning a lot about what I really wanted surrounding me. And a lot of us did. A lot of people went through photos. They went through memorabilia. They went in the basements. They went in the attics, the closets, under their beds, wherever they could go to find out a little bit more about their possessions and themselves. So what we're going to talk about today is, according to the class description, I just want to make sure everybody knows this class is not about decluttering, but it is about organizing. So once you've decluttered and you're kind of left with the stuff that you want, and maybe some pockets of things you don't want but don't know what to do with those things, we're going to address where to send those things, where to dispatch those things inside your home and outside your home. So let me see if I can get to the next screen. There we go. So the pressure is on. We hear this all the time. Simplify. Keep it simple. Less is more. Don't spend so much money. Hey, you should become a minimalist. Hey, you should unclutter your house. You have too much stuff. We hear these messages everywhere, and the pressure is on, for sure. If you look at anybody on Instagram, if you've looked at the Home Edit on Netflix or read any organizing books, I mean, this is a talk given by a library, so I'm sure a lot of you are voracious readers. There's a lot of content out there. Social media, TV shows, everything is kind of sending this big message to all of us, is to simplify our lives. And we certainly want to help you do that. Today, I'm going to take the pressure off by giving you some easy to use tips and strategies that should not feel too difficult, should be easy to step into. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to recommend a few books that have helped me form better habits in my life, just as well as becoming a better professional organizer. So see if we can get to the next statement here, which is the act of putting something you actually want where it can be found easily, used and enjoyed, and put back again quickly. So this is my definition of organizing. I did not look at Webster's dictionary. This is just what I tell all of my clients. We're going to put things today in our session where you actually will use it, where you'll actually enjoy it. So One of the biggest takeaways from this presentation for you, I hope, is when you put something away, put it away for retrieval. That's the only reason you're putting it away, not because it has a beautiful basket or a waiting shelf or any type of great container that you picked up at Target or the Container Store, but because you actually want it, because you actually will enjoy it, reference it. If it's photos or memorabilia, put it somewhere where you can grab it. Get your pictures digitized and put them on a digital frame and have that going around. So that's you enjoying your things, your possessions. So many people stash things away for safekeeping and don't look at them again for 50 years. I see that every time we go into an attic of an older adult when it's time to downsize. And there's so many regrets that they should have enjoyed that item. Or they could have spent more time maybe sifting through those belongings and sharing them with the less fortunate. So organizing is really just making sure you can find everything and utilizing it. And if you don't use it, you should not have it. So remember, decluttering is not organizing. Decluttering is just the first step towards getting organized. Before you get organized, you have to define who you are now. It will define what you keep. So I am a mom. These are my kids on the first picture. They are grown adults, as you can see. There is no reason why I need to keep their things in my house. They have their own houses. They are grown and gone. So they have their own things at their house. Every now and then, if I find memorabilia, I give them some of that. I'll make a copy of a picture of something that they might want to have in their homes, their holiday ornaments, their holiday decor. I'm starting to, help them set up their homes. So I am not a mom with young children. So that defines who I am, and that defines what's in my house. That's just an example. I'm engaged to the wonderful man in the picture. We're in Niagara Falls. So I am a bride-to-be. I am a new homeowner as of last night. We bought a house together, and we're new homeowners. So that's who I am right now. I'm 51 years old. I have a business. My surroundings reflect that I am a businesswoman who is getting married, who is buying a home and filling a home. Hopefully we're downsizing. We bought a much smaller house than the apartment we live in. The picture on the right is me surfing. I am a surfer. I am a hardcore surfer and snowboarder, and I like to ski. So what do I have in my apartment? I have things that go with that. I am not a quilter anymore. I'm not a sewer anymore. So a lot of the hobbies that I used to have, I don't have anymore. So the things that are in my home, books, music, surfing equipment, planning guides for a wedding, planning guides for a new home, maybe a book on empty nesting when I get sad. Those types of things are in my home. That's who I am now. So I kind of want, before you begin your journey of organizing, to really think about who you are now at your age and have the things around you that reflect who you are at this moment in time. There are 3 steps of organizing: decluttering, which is that edit, the purge, saying goodbye to stuff you don't like. It gets called many things. Shedding, I've heard people say I'm shedding my stuff. The second step is actually organizing, which is creating that system, making a place for everything, including your actions. So that also means like organizing your time. So putting things in a calendar, that's an action item. And then maintaining and revising your habits. So that's the third step. So there are 3 steps to actually getting organized and staying organized. So since you've already sorted, decluttered, and decided about what's important to you, now we're going to get you organized so you actually enjoy your life. So where do you put it all? There's 2 places. So we're going to simplify things. it's either out of your house or in your house, right? So if it's in your house, you see this happy woman, you know, organizing her pantry and putting things away. And then out of your house, I'm a big fan of donation centers and giving something a second life. And when we talk about donation centers, we have your typical, you know, red, white, and blue stores, which is operated by the veterans. That's who the stuff is pictured in this photo. This is an actual job that I did. That was just one pickup out of 12 for a house in Upper St. Clair. Then once that gets to the red, white, and blue store, it gets ticketed and sold. Or if they feel like it's not sellable, you know, they'll dispose of it. But typically, when you're getting rid of stuff, you want to make sure that you're doing a good job of making sure it has no damage or rips or tears or just something you wouldn't buy yourself. The only exception to that is that there is a Goodwill store, frankly, one of the only ones that's open for donations right now in Pittsburgh is the one in Heidelberg. It's considered one of their biggest thrift stores, and it's certain days of the week they have their blue tables that roll out of things that you probably wouldn't buy. There are stains and tears and items in that on those tray tables and rolling blue tables that are very, very much priced to sell. Goodwill does say they'll take everything, and that's where it goes. It goes to one of those stores. But they also have general merchandise at those stores as well, which are higher priced items. And they do open at 10 a.m. Watch the hours, check your hours of everywhere you go. For all you early birds, you will be disappointed to find roped off parking lots during this time, and big signs saying, please do not deposit things here. People do anyway, but try to, you know, go on the Goodwill website and find out who's taking donations right now, and just really respecting those hours and making calls about certain items if you're not sure what they'll take. It only takes a few minutes to do your due diligence, and I would definitely take that time. If you have a charity in mind, definitely check out a charity in advance. Give them a call, let them know what you have, like Salvation Army will pick up, but a lot of people won't come into your home anymore. A lot of people ask me that question, you know, who's going to come in and get the heavy beds and the heavy dressers out of my home? So what we typically do in those situations is we ask you to, you know, you may have to go with a company like Auction Your Possessions Today. A lot of this information is on our senior resource guide. We do have a big resource guide. I used to hand this out as a handout, but it got too big. So we have this very, very inexpensive guide that we sell that has everything you need to know about all of these places. But certainly in the chat, we can give you some of these links today. So Auction Your Possessions Today, ayptoday.com is one of the first links I'll ask my assistants to put up right now. And what that guy does is he comes out and he will pick up your stuff for donation and the stuff that you're selling in one truck. So it's all done in one fell swoop. You do have to pay a hauling fee, but you also get a Goodwill receipt and an inventory. So that's Auction Your Possessions Today. That's who we end up when we do our big downsizings and moves and relocations. We tend to go to that one-stop shop for him. There are other companies in Pittsburgh that do that work as well. We have just found him to be the most friendly. You can politely ask a hauling company potentially to drop your things off at Goodwill instead of the landfill, but typically not a lot of hauling companies will do that for you if something's heavy. So my best tip to you, if you don't want to pay someone like Doug, is to see if you can get a neighbor, a friend, some college students, some volunteers to get your heavy things down for pickup and to be put outside and labeled like this, or to have a situation, if you have a garage, to make sure that your garage door is open, it's welcoming, the signs are very clear for when they pick up, that they can take what you have indicated. I usually make VVA signs like this, and I put them everywhere so that there's no guesswork as to what's going on that truck if you're not home when they arrive. So I think choosing a charity is a really important thing. I think like the Center for Creative Reuse isn't necessarily a charity, but they're definitely someplace that takes notions like sewing notions, craft paper, craft goods, buttons, all sorts of stuff. Right now, I know because of the pandemic, things are a little difficult to donate to, but if you store things with tags on them, like where it's going when this lifts and you're able to make donations again, then you certainly make sure that you're tagging and labeling it for yourself, and then put it in your calendar at the beginning of each month to check and to see when these places are opening up, or get on their mailing list. A lot of these places, like I'm a big supporter of the Center for Creative Reuse in Pittsburgh. I'm on their Instagram page. They'll update you. They'll send you updates like, hey, Pittsburgh, this is what we're doing right now. These are our hours, or we're going to be opening on this date again. So if you follow some of your favorite charities, you can always unfollow them later. It's a nice way for you to be proactive in your efforts to donate. We also like something in Pittsburgh called the Free Store. Their hours vary, so make sure, and they have 2 locations. But in Wilkinsburg and in Braddock, there's 2 places that support a transitional community, and you can take all sorts of things there, and they need everything, mostly housewares, bedding, men's clothing, a big deal. And a lot of us don't know where to take some things. So on our local resource guide, we have so much more of that, but the Free Store is something you should definitely check out. And they are very grateful. If they were allowed to hug you when you walked into their store, they totally would hug you if you could. But they are very, very gracious and happy to take whatever you have. They offer things for free to people in transition that are coming out of some pretty bad situations. And you're supporting people from after a fire or flood. You're supporting people beginning their lives again after a rehabilitation center, or people that have been incarcerated. So your charity could be really anything you want here in Pittsburgh. We actually have one of the best resources list, I think, in the country. I have talked to other professional organizers all over the country that I work with, and they are astounded by the amount of giving and caring that our community does. As small of a city as it is, we certainly do make the rounds in terms of offering wonderful access to ways to give. So consignment stores, just a quick word before I move on. Most consignment stores do need appointments for your first drop-off, and you will need to sign a contract. And in that contract, you're going to have to agree to your pricing. It's usually 50-50, but then after a time, your pricing will diminish. So if the item doesn't sell, you may have to agree to sell your item for much less than what you thought you were going to sell it for. So those are things that you have to discuss with the consignment store owner. There are plenty of consignment stores in Pittsburgh. The other thing you should know as a warning, I guess, is that if you don't indicate that your things aren't to be donated after they don't sell, they will automatically be donated unless you indicate otherwise. So if you want those items back to maybe give to family and friends or a different charity, or you want to choose the charity yourself, then make sure that you have a conversation or check a box or write a note to your consignment store owner and letting them know that you would like to take it to a charity yourself. Family and friends make great gift recipients, especially people that may not have established themselves. They may be looking for furniture. They may be looking for electronics. Maybe you're getting rid of an iPad that is a version that isn't maybe popular anymore, but somebody sure could use it. So just keep your eyes and ears open for, relatives, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, cousins. They might be very excited about getting things that you may not find exciting anymore. So then again, here's our senior resource guide, but it is an actual local resource guide. So anyway, and that is available on Amazon. Now let's talk about organizing in your house. So you sort, you contain, you label, you store, you do all this. This is an actual job that I did for a woman who was a travel nurse, and she gave testimony to in court cases, medical testimony. And so she was a very, very busy woman. The structure in the middle of that closet was not there when I first met her. I'm going to show you a before picture from another angle, but she was just a very busy person that was overwhelmed, found me on the internet and said, help, I give up. So what we did first is, you have to see what you have. You have to take your inventory. So if you've already decluttered and you've already said, I don't want anything, but I am left with a mound of clothing, or I have clothing, I don't know how to organize it, to have it be accessible, to have it look nice, to feel tidy about my space. The very first thing we did was sort it by the way she dressed. You'll see a lot of TV shows sorting and hanging clothes by a rainbow color. That's fine. But this particular woman liked to wear a lot of black and white clothing with some color. So we organized her closet with a lot of black and white clothing being accessible. Some people like to prefer putting their outfits together. They call them stories. So you can put your little story together. This is not an Instagram story, it's a clothing story. You can put your little stories together of matching outfits and have them ready to go for Monday through Friday. You can do this with kids. You can do this with yourself. You can do this with someone you're taking care of to make it easy for them to get dressed. Really, the whole point of being organized is to have an easier, simpler life. So when we're sorting, we're thinking about how we want to access that item later. And when we're containing, we're making sure that the container isn't too heavy, that maybe it's attractive, that it provides boundaries. And I'm going to go over some supplies and products with you shortly. And then labeling, there's a lot of beautiful labels out there that you can buy now. If you follow anybody on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, you can buy and have access to many beautiful labels. And I say, go for it if you want some style. But to get things moving, all you really need is a Sharpie and some, label tape or some mailing labels just to get yourself moving in the right direction. You don't have to get fancy at first. You can get better at this as you go along. But as long as you've labeled something, that is the most important thing you can do. So I'm okay with you grabbing a roll of masking tape and a marker right now and getting going today after we finish, because that will get the job done. It doesn't have to be perfect. So first things first, schedule the time to organize on your calendar. If you make an appointment with yourself, you'll usually keep it. We're a very appointment-based society. So if you can put an appointment on the calendar for next Saturday at 10 a.m., I am going to sort through my closet or the front half of my garage, or I'm going to take things to a donation center at 10 o'clock on Saturday. Instead of just putting it as a loose task on a task list that seems to never end, if you give yourself an appointment, you might show up and actually get the work done. The other thing I love using is a timer. This is a time timer. You can find a time timer at timetimer.com, but we use them a lot when working with our clients, not just those that have ADHD, not just those that are distractible, and not even just children. I use one myself when I absolutely have to get a deadline met. There's a couple of different techniques I want to talk to you about. But the first one is called the Pomodoro Technique. So basically, you're going to set a timer for 25 minutes to do a task, take a 5-minute break, and do another 25 minutes, and so on and so forth. That's just a small example of a Pomodoro technique. Please go to Google and start exploring all the Pomodoro techniques. There's a few, but the 25-minute really helps someone like me that needs to do a burst of activity, then take a break, a burst of activity, then take a break. But that's just me. And I find that a lot of my clients like to see an analog timer such as this instead of a digital timer. The analog timer, like the time timer, allows you to see that the red indicator will get smaller, which means the task is almost over, which is very motivating. You can set the time timer for up to 60 minutes. So one of the other things I will tell you is you can set an actual oven timer for 15 minutes. And what I like about an oven timer is it makes you get up and turn it off. If you set it on your phone, you'll just hit like you do maybe with your snooze button in the morning on your phone. You'll turn it off very quickly and you might not be able to get the actual break in that you're looking for. So if you want the timer technique to be successful, please put it across the room or use an oven timer, something that's going to make you stand up, move around, turn off the timer, decide if you need the break, and come back to the work. Once you become a pro, you could probably organize for 2 hours, then 3 hours. But for the first organizing session, set aside on your calendar at least 2 hours, including these break ideas, including these timer ideas. So using that Pomodoro technique, you will have 8 little bursts of organizing. And you can get a lot done in 8 bursts of 25 minutes. So make sure you take a before picture before you organize. This is very satisfying. Even if you decide not to become a social media guru and become a professional organizing pro tip expert, make sure that you take a before picture to see where you were. A lot of people do this when they're starting a weight loss journey. They take a picture of themselves in some exercise clothing and they say, this is what I look like before, and they hate what it looks like. And they're like, I will never post this. I will never let anyone see this. But this is just for you, okay? So this is that woman that I told you about, the travel nurse expert. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you what happened. So get some help. Get some helpers, find an accountability partner, hire a professional organizer, get someone you know who's very efficient but not judgmental in to help you. Somebody that isn't making fun of you or teasing you is a very good accountability partner. Someone that will help you with kindness, compassion, and patience is definitely who you need by your side as you organize. And a word about containers. People tend to love to buy containers. I see a lot of, I call them the island of misfit toys in people's garages, basements, attics, closets, spare bedrooms, lots of containers that never got used because they didn't follow a couple simple rules before they went shopping. Here are the simple rules. First, you're going to sort, then you're going to measure, then you're going to make a list, then you're going to shop. So the first step is really, once you've sorted all your belongings, you're going to measure. And I'm talking about every shelf going wide, deep, tall, making sure you're not so sad when you come home from the container store and the things that you bought don't fit. That is very frustrating. So as a professional organizer, if I'm coming into your home, I'm not coming in without a measuring tape, a notebook, my phone to take pictures, to help me remember what's inside of your drawers and your closets, to make sure I look at your available hanging space, to make sure I look at what do you have available for a drawer divider. And one of the things you have to remember when you're thinking about drawers is the height. Standard height can be anywhere from 2.5 inches on a junk drawer to 6 inches. So make sure you measure your height as well as your depth and your length. When we organize a kitchen, for instance, we always make sure we're cleaning the kitchen first, all the cabinets, all the shelves, all the drawers, and then we put shelf liner down. And when we do that, we have to be pretty much precision perfect on that because we're being paid to do it. But you are not being paid to do it, and you can do a good job by, making sure the surface is clean and ready. If you want to use shelf liner, that's fine, but measuring shelf liner always helps you measure what you're actually going to put in there. Making a shopping list, just like when you go to the grocery store, try not to go to the grocery store hungry or without a list. Same thing applies for shopping for organizing supplies. For anyone that's ever been inside a Target, a Bed Bath & Beyond, or an IKEA, it is very overwhelming to go specifically to the place that you want to go to find exactly what you're looking for and to get exactly the product you're looking for without filling up your basket with, you know, personal supplies, a couple of groceries, maybe a cute top you saw along the way, a pair of shoes. So just try to stay focused and get what's on your shopping list so that you're not having to contain more stuff when you get home. And then finally, you get to go shopping. You get to go play. You get to go to the Container Store. You get to go to Target and buy exactly what's on your list. And one other tip I will give you, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is just overbuy. If you think you need 5 containers, get 6, get 7. If you think you need 8 drawer dividers, you're not quite sure how they're going to look, overbuy, because you can always take back. Nothing more frustrating than starting to organize a drawer or a cabinet or a closet and realize you did not buy enough hangers or you did not buy enough shoe containers when you really were just trying to be done that day. So if you overbuy, you can always take back the 2 that are extra. Chances are you will not have too much extra. You will find a purpose for the extra thing that you bought to put something inside. And before you place your new containers, make sure that you, like I said, clear and clean the space where it will go and make one more decision pass. I know a lot of you worked hard to declutter your items and you worked hard to make decisions about what you'll keep and what you'll toss and what you'll recycle and what you'll shred and what will actually stay in your home. But make one more decision pass before you place that item. And sometimes as you're putting stuff in a container, you'll hold it in your hand using that Ohio technique. If some of you have been to my classes in the past, you know that Ohio stands for only handle it once. So when you're making a decision, as soon as it hits your hands and you have something in your hand, you can say, do I really need these or do I not? Make sure you have a donation bin with you when you're organizing, because if you have made this second pass and you're having second thoughts about those things, it's okay. Just make sure you have a receptacle for any of those donation items handy. Then you can continue to organize and put things away. So then you're going to double check the fit. And basically this means before you start loading all the stuff into the containers and then into the drawers and then into the closets, you're going to make sure it all fits first. So play around, place your items, make sure everything is, like if you have bins that are going to go on a shelf, make sure that they all lay there nicely, because sometimes we look at the measurements of an object when we go to Target or the Container Store, Bed Bath, and the lips around the tubs or the containers might be wider than your space allows. And when you place them all next to each other, you're going to get frustrated that they're not lining up properly. And then finally, you want to load your contents into your containers and trays and that kind of thing. So I want to talk about paper organizing very quickly. 23% of Americans admit to paying bills late due to the lack of organization. The average American spends 1 year of their life looking for lost or misplaced items. And hey, we all know that decluttered environments make everybody happy and make everybody more productive. People can work in an uncluttered environment. And remember, dining room tables are for people, not for paper. And you can be proactive. You can avoid getting all that junk mail before it comes in. One of the things I like doing, please visit this website. We can put it in the chat, is dmaconsumers.org. That there is a mail preference service. For $5, you can put all your information into this website and it will stop getting all those unsolicited offers or catalogs, all that mail that you don't want. It takes 30 to 60 days, so be patient once you enter your information. But there are lots of other things on this site, like how to stop spam phone calls and things like that. So remember, it's the dmaconsumers.org. and it's the mail preference service tab that you want to pick. So you might have a little existing paper or you might have a lot. Either way, you want to get it all together, but no more than what your sorting surface can handle. You also may want to go to a Zen-like space in your home, a space that you never have cluttered to work so that you're out of the messy space when you sort and make decisions. You're going to always sort into 2 piles, just like you did with your clothes and your shoes and everything else. Keep or toss. It's that easy, just to have 2 piles to begin with. Once you want to advance into sorting even better, you can do keep, mine versus someone else's stuff, tossing and recycling, or active and passive information. Active information is the stuff that you need all the time. Bills, invitations to things, maybe a special flyer for a coupon or a sale, things that are active, things that you need, a doctor's reminder for a visit coming up. Passive information are your taxes, your insurance records, things of that nature. These are the 5 tools that you'll see in my office all the time. Sterilite clip box, a vertical filer, a Pendaflex Pile Smart, a tote, a file tote. These things are things that you'll see me with all the time, especially a Sharpie, and I never leave anywhere without a Sharpie. Your filing basics, this is pretty simple. You're going to look at your general categories first. Then you're going to file specific categories in manila or colored folders. Some of you like colors. You can use whatever colors you want, but make sure you stick with the theme if you're color coding. And then you're going to alphabetize within. And hey guys, no more Post-it notes, please. Post-it notes become a sea of confusion, and it's hard to find the note that you're looking for when you need it. So try to use one notebook to keep a ship's log of your life. Just one notebook will keep all of your notes, phone numbers. If you go to the doctor, you can take this with you to make notes. This presentation, you could be taking notes in one notebook. Post-it notes can become a very fragmented way to communicate, to write down, and remember things. So I'm going to hit small spaces very quickly. If you feel so like you're moving in after living in your home for 30 years, then you probably might have some boxes laying around. If you've shopped for bins and ideas, but you don't feel like it worked, people still have stuff that they haven't unpacked from the last move. Or if you're constantly shuffling things around, you might be in a small space. And if you've just recently downsized or moved into a place, when we all look at homes, like the one I just bought, this is not the home I just bought, by the way, this is way bigger. Then you have, you see this empty pallet and you just have to say, oh my gosh, it's going to be so big. But then you actually move your stuff in and it's not. So trying to get your stuff from boxes into your new place can be a little struggling and confusing, but you have to take it all out. You have to look at it, sort it, and then decide where it goes. So definitely use your walls and go up. You can use freestanding wardrobes from IKEA. I put the prices on here just so you can see the prices. This is a Pax wardrobe. You can also get Hemney's open wardrobes for only $149. This is something we use in our office. It's a wardrobe. We hang all of our office coats and we put our office supplies all in one closet for $149. This is also from IKEA. And if you have clothing, which we all do, you want to only keep the center of your closet your active space. So you want to keep your current clothes in the center of your closet and put less used clothes to the right and the left. Color coding helps to see how many of one color that you have. Like I said, you do not have to be perfect, and try to keep baskets and bins on the top shelves or underneath. You can double your hanging space by using a double hanging rod system. You can get these at the Container Store and Bed Bath & Beyond for about $29. And using hanging shelves keeps items very accessible. I love these. You can get these from just about anywhere. Floating shelves work great instead of bookcases to keep your items up. And then, of course, in a bathroom, they're just so helpful to keep everything off the counters and from cluttering the tops of toilet seats and lids and things like that. And this little add-a shelf goes great inside of a cabinet, so you can stack things without clanging around your dishes or moving your dishes around. And Lazy Susans and spice racks and all sorts of expanding vertical systems are all available. You know where they are. They're all at the Container Store, Target, Bed Bath, but you have to use what works for you. And no, I do not alphabetize my spices. So some parting words for you as we conclude our presentation is that we want to avoid perfectionism. This is not the way your refrigerator probably will look when you're done. You have to be honest with yourself about the way that you want to live and what should be in your home. You want to contain around the size of the contents you own instead of the other way around and making your containers just be beautiful for pretty's sake. You want to make sure that they're containing your life. Use labels. They don't have to be perfect. They can just be whatever you need. And remember that we're only using 20% of what we own 80% of the time. This is called the Pareto principle. You want to celebrate your small wins. Any tiny new habit that you can form and that you actually prove success with, it's better than having no new habit at all. Make sure you take that after picture. Reward yourself. Tell people about your success. You can do this on Instagram if you want, but you could just send pictures to your friends and they will celebrate with you big time. And make sure you keep your maintenance steps going. Make sure that you keep your habits in check. Have a monthly appointment with yourself to keep that space looking just the way you left it when you finished organizing. Learn about habit-forming behaviors with a book like Atomic Habits by James Clear. We could put that in the chat too. And then we have a whole library section on our website. These are some of the books. I think we have about 9 books right now. I'm sure it'll grow. But make sure you check out books at your library that will help you. That's all I have for you today. I would love to answer questions. I'm sorry I went over a few minutes, but I do get excited about my topic.